And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans. I'm your on-air host, Sara DiVello, and I'm so excited to welcome to the show tonight New York Times best-selling author Zac Bissonnette, here to give us the inside scoop in the special pre-launch event about his brand new book out tomorrow, A Killing in Costumes. Zac, welcome to Mystery and Thriller Mavens. Tell us about this book.
This is so exciting. This is my first event, so this is terrific. Thanks so much for having me.
Yes.
So the book, it's a funny story about actually how the best way to explain it is how I buy weird things at auctions sometimes. And I bought in late 2019 a very, very large portrait painting of Jessica Fletcher, Angela Lansbury as Jessica Fletcher in Murder, She Wrote, that was actually painted for an episode of the show by a studio artist. And I bought this and I got it home and I hung it across from my bed, as one does. And I looked at it and I had this idea that I wanted to do a cozy mystery series about two best friends who used to be married, who are now both gay, who opened their own Hollywood memorabilia store in Palm Springs and solve murders. And so that, and it was cool because, I think like any cozy writer, I'm completely inspired by Murder, She Wrote. I think that's sort of the quintessential piece for that genre. But then the painting really inspired me to try to do this series. So the book begins with, they've opened Hooray for Hollywood in Palm Springs, and business is slow, and they're trying to figure out whether it's going to work. And then a Hail Mary arrives in the form of Yana Tosh, who is a 90-year-old former film star who has assembled a collection of costumes from the golden age of cinema and is looking to sell them. And she meets with them, and then she meets with the vice president for a large auction house, who also meets with Jay and Cindy, the main characters, and then their main competition for the deal ends up dead, and they have to clear their names and win the consignment. And that's sort of the premise for the book.
Well, it is a premise that I love because I know I am a Murder, She Wrote fan. So I grew up watching that show. I was all about Jessica Fletcher. I was fascinated by the Maine accent.
Yeah, she does like a funny Maine accent. I think if you talk to a real Downeaster, they're not so sure about that accent, but it works for me.
I love it. And I loved how murder and mayhem kind of followed Jessica wherever she went. And here was this woman of a certain age, kicking ass, taking names, solving crimes. What's not to love? So I grew up on this stuff. And so I'm totally here for it. Any other Murder, She Writes fans in the audience? Give me a hands up. Tell us that you're here. And I'm also loving that what appealed to me about your book and why I've invited you on the show, aside from everything, is because this premise about Golden Age Hollywood. So I am a huge Golden Age of Hollywood fan. Cary Grant was my first crush.
They're doing a Cary Grant biopic. I think that just got announced today.
I did not know that. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah,
so we are broadcasting live to 6 different destinations, as we always are, across Facebook and YouTube. If you've been here before, you know the drill. If you're new, welcome. We're so happy to have you. Here's the drill every Monday for hashtag Mystery Monday, because Mondays can be murder. I give you my handpicked features authors, and you get to ask them anything. So ask Zac about his Jessica Fletcher obsession, about this book, about the Golden Age of Hollywood, anything you got weighing on your mind. Get them going in the comments. I'll get them right over to him. Heather Doyle Harrison, welcome to the conversation. She said, hi, Zac. I messaged you about a cozy group for you to speak and visit at. A cozy group sounds fabulous. Zac, get back to Heather.
Can you please email me at zbissonnette@gmail.com? I don't have Facebook, but I think like there's a stub account or something. So if you message me on there, I don't have access to it. I didn't see it. If you could please just email me at my last name at Gmail, I will get back to you. I promise, Heather. I absolutely want to do your group. I just have not seen the email. So please email me and don't be mad at me.
Yay. Well, Heather, thank you so much for tuning in and for raising your hand and joining the conversation.
I feel like I'm on QVC, which is a lifelong dream of mine, like all.
I know. I feel like I should auction you off. Do I hear $30 for Zac? Yeah. $30, please. Yeah. Maybe that's not QVC. I don't know. Anyway, Heather, thank you for joining the conversation.
QVC would be more like, this is a book that you'll leave to your grandkids. Oh. Yeah.
I got confused by the auction of the Jessica Fletcher life-size portrait. But we are here to connect readers and writers. So this is great that this is already happening. And that we have some cozy fans. Andrew, welcome to the conversation. He would like to know, Zac, did you do a lot of research or all basic knowledge for the book? Zac, I want to know about your research too, because
this is such a great question. So
tell us.
I had this idea because it's about the world of Hollywood memorabilia and the auction world, which I used to, back when I was a journalist, I wrote about antiques some, but not enough, but enough to be able to kind of fake it. And so I had this idea that, look, any mystery is going to consist mostly of an author sitting around Googling stuff and getting a lot of it wrong. Like, that's kind of the nature of research in general. But I didn't want to do that too much. So I actually asked around and I said, who's the best person for me to interview for this book to try to understand the world? And everyone told me this guy, Joe Maddalena, who runs the entertainment memorabilia department at Heritage Auctions. And so I emailed him and we set up a phone call, and I told him a little about the premise of the book. And the first thing he said to me was, that is a totally plausible premise. The idea that there's some old lady in Palm Springs who has a collection that no one's seen in 50 years and she wants to sell it and there's competition, someone gets murdered. It's like, that could totally happen. These people are crazy. The collectors are in this category are very intense. Because of the nostalgia aspect, like people feel a connection to old movies. And, as Maddalena told me, that if you're a Judy Garland obsessive and you can have the ruby red slippers from The Wizard of Oz, what more do you need in life, really? I mean, and so that's why those sell for $2 million, I think, last time they sold.
And there was something about those red slippers. They got stolen from a museum, and there was something crazy.
So that happened. Well, what's so funny is, and this is, I think, where some of the potential for intrigue in movie memorabilia comes about, is there are a few different pairs of those ruby red slippers. And I think it was not entirely clear how many, because the thing that's so interesting about Hollywood memorabilia is at the time when they were making this stuff, it was not known that they were creating sort of the great American art form. This was seen as ephemeral. A lot of it was thrown out or given away or stuck in a storage lot at MGM, and then it was finally sold actually when MGM went through a restructure, I think in the 70s. But anyway, it's funny you ask about the research thing. If you're curious about that, my author's note at the end of A Killing in Costumes is a piece I did that's an interview with the Heritage Auctions memorabilia expert to kind of get the real story about Hollywood memorabilia, how it became a craze, what's hot, what's not, that kind of thing. So I think that's actually one of my favorite parts of the book. So.
Oh, very cool. So that's in your author notes, the real story on.
Yeah, it's like a little magazine type piece right at the back of the book.
Ooh, okay. So everybody check out. First of all, Andrew, thank you for the great question.
Great question, by the way. I was hoping someone would ask. So.
Okay, so you talked to the expert, the Hollywood guy. Did you talk to anybody else?
Just a lot of Googling, and then other people in the industry who told me to talk to him, basically, but not. Everyone was like, no, this is the guy. He hosted a reality show about Hollywood memorabilia maybe 10 years ago. He's just a terrific, super smart, super cool guy. The other thing that's really cool that came of that I don't have this posted yet, so breaking very minor news, not that anyone knows, but my painting of Jessica Fletcher, Heritage Auctions will be selling with all the proceeds going to the Actors Fund. So they're taking no commission, I'm taking nothing, and so we're going to be raising money for. I think that's the auction's in December. We thought it would be a nice Christmas thing.
I love that.
So it's very and it's cool because it's a way to give back to sort of people in the Hollywood industry who have maybe fallen on hard times and that kind of thing. So more on that later. But that was one of the cool things that came from research is I'm talking to you and I'm telling you about this painting, and how I got into this, and then I had this idea like it would be cool to auction that because, everyone who comes over says to me, how do you sleep with Jessica Fletcher staring at you across the room? And I'm always like, how do you sleep without Jessica Fletcher staring at you across the room? But
how are you going to sleep without her staring at you, Zac?
A lot of therapy. There's some separation anxieties. We get ready to do that. But it's time for it to inspire someone else because I would not have written this book without that painting. So, maybe it'll inspire someone else. Anyway.
Okay, well, I'm excited to share this breaking news. So Zac is auctioning off his Jessica Fletcher portrait for charity. So I always ask my guests to share at least one never before revealed secret. So here we go, the breaking news, raising money for a good cause starting in December. So check that out.
I think the listing's up. If you go to ha.com and type in Murder, She Wrote, it'll come out and you can look at it. You can't bid on it yet, but if you go, yeah, anyway.
Excellent. Jill joining us from YouTube says, thanks for sitting in front of the snow-covered landscape. It is super.
Oh my God, Jill Erickson. This is one of my favorite people in the world.
Yay.
She was
it's
the
super sticky where she's watching here in Cape Cod. So she's happy to see the snow. And she said, thank you for convincing me to watch Murder, She Wrote episodes. All right, give us the scoop. What's going on, you guys? Friends, your Murder, She Wrote buddies?
She was the reference librarian when I was a child on Cape Cod. And then we became friends on Twitter. And she is so smart, so wonderful, such good book recommendations. And, it's so funny because she has given, because I follow her on Twitter, and she has so many smart, literate, books and movies and things for, smart people to read. And I'm like, you got to watch Murder, She Wrote. But she likes it. So that's exciting.
First of all, shout out to librarians. Librarians are the best.
Yes.
And Jill, thank you for joining us and for for commenting, for joining the conversation. Zac, thanks for giving us the scoop on this. Jill is your librarian and resource guide here on Cape Cod. Loving this, y'all. The book is out tomorrow. So Murder by the Book. John at Murder by the Book is a huge cozy fan. He has John's Cozy Corners at the store, and the book is out tomorrow. So I'm popping the link to pre-order now. So no matter where you're watching from, here's the link. Click over, pre-order it, and the good folks at Murder by the Book will send it out to you. John mentioned that he was very happy to see your cat, Perry Como, making a cameo in the social media assets. Let's hear about Perry Como. Is he your research partner? Is he your editor? Is he your inspiration? What's the deal?
He's definitely my inspiration. The issue is that when your cat is Perry Como, one of the great singers of all time, it's very hard to have any kind of entertainment career that's ever going to compete with that. But he's been extremely supportive. And he's just wonderful. And yeah.
And what is Perry doing to be supportive in this moment, Zac?
I think he's buying a lot of copies. No, you can't write mysteries without a cat. Not traditional mysteries. I think you could do historical or thrillers. And by the way, it's International Cat Day. You know this, right? I did
not know this.
That's why I wore this is cat. This is the closest thing I had to a cat. It's actually for Caterpillar, the ag equipment company, but it's close enough. And
I did not know this.
No, so this is International Cat Day is like a high holy day for cozy mystery fans. So it's pretty exciting. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a great honor to be at Murder by the Book on International.
Excellent. Yes. Well, we're very happy to have you. And we're not the only ones loving the book. So let's look at some of these amazing reviews. Publishers Weekly raving that this is a lively series launch. Bissonnette's message of new beginnings after devastating losses inspires. Congratulations on that review from PW. Kirkus advises that fans of movie memorabilia will have, quote, a field day. Let's pop that up. Kirkus, who the New York Times called reliably cantankerous and curmudgeonly, loving this dose of a Zac. Congratulations on that. And Miranda James, New York Times and USA Today best-selling author of Cat in the Stacks and the Southern Ladies Mystery Series, also had some wonderful words to say. Let's take a peek at that. I'm going to pop this up right here. She says, Zac's contemporary twist on Agatha Christie's Tommy and Tuppence is sure to enthrall traditional mystery fans. At the core of this astonishing debut is love in various forms, and especially our eternal love of and fascination for Hollywood and its glamour and glitz. Congratulations on all of these rave reviews. So, Zac, you have written in other genres. This is your first cozy. What have you learned along the way? What served you well as you switched genres? What did you have to change?
You have to I think writing fictions, because I did reported stuff, and this is my first novel. I've never tried. And, it's fascinating because it's like which one's harder, which one's easier. And it's interesting because nonfiction's really hard because you can't make stuff up. And then fiction's really hard because you have to make everything up. So that's like, it's so different. I love journalism, but it's funny, when I was a journalist, I enjoyed the reporting much more than the writing. And then it kind of took fiction to get me to like writing. With nonfiction, it's for me, it was so much about the story and the information gathering and the reporting aspect of it. And much more about that for me than the writing. But with a mystery, it's so different. So different. I think it's completely different.
So obviously journalism, a tighter, smaller word count. Did journalism teach you to write tautly, to teach you to write, to create a tense, tight 500 word,
I hope so. Yeah, no, that's a great point. I hope so. And I think what journalism forces you to do is you have to write a lot. And you have to be able to churn stuff out. Whereas I think if you're just starting out trying to write fiction, and by the way, like I know nothing about, this is not advice or anything, is what I'm saying. I'm just speaking. I think the discipline of being a journalist, where you have to churn stuff out, whether you want to or not, whether you feel like it, whether you care about the topic, I think that's useful to just get in that discipline of just cranking out words.
I like this quote that you just said. Nonfiction is hard because you can't make things up. Fiction is hard because you have to make everything up. I think that really gets to the truth of it, because they are both challenging in different ways. Nonfiction constraining you with its truth. Fiction constraining you because you literally are starting from nothing.
Yeah.
So this is fascinating stuff. I also wanted to share this review from Jen McKay. She is the New York Times bestselling author of the Library Lovers mystery series. Again, sharing our love of libraries. Sorry, Jen McKinley. And she said, hooray for this smashing new cozy mystery by Zac Bissonnette, chock full of old Hollywood references, eclectic collectible information, and delightfully set in sunny Palm Springs. There is so much to love in this perfectly executed, high-stakes puzzler of a mystery.
I just have to say, I mean,
tell me,
like Miranda James and Jen McKinley are just like, I think they're my two favorite writers. Sorry, anyone else is watching, but I just know, in 2020, it was sad. I mean, I was in New York. It was sad. It was awful, miserable on a multitude of levels. And their books really kept me from being sad all the time. And I think that there's nothing more important that you can do. And I think that's one of the reasons I wanted to write cozies, is because I saw what those books did for me when I was sad. You know what I mean? And it's like, what could be cooler than to do that for someone? You know what I mean? So anyway, I just had to say that, because since we're talking about Jen McKinley and Miranda James, I just had to say they are my two favorite writers.
Oh, I love that. I'm glad that your two favorite writers reviewed and blurbed your book and had some wonderful things to say. And I think you're raising an important point, which is that books have the power to connect us in a universal way across geographic boundaries, and wherever you are in the world, we can connect through the pages and relate to each other through this experience. And to see them sharing how your book has touched them is really special. So I'm loving this. We have another comment here. I accidentally scrolled past it. Jill said she was also delayed to have already read your mystery when you were still working on it, but she's looking forward to picking up her copy at her local bookstore, 8 Cousins, tomorrow morning. Yay for shopping local. Thank you so much, Jill, for joining us here today. We have 10 minutes left, so if anyone has any questions for Zac, get them going in the comments, and I will get them right over to him. I do let people submit questions in advance in my Mystery and Thriller Mavens Facebook group, and some people did, so I also want to get over to there. So first of all, I just want to say, everyone, it's free and open to all, so be sure to join. I'll pop the link in the comments. And then Zac, let's get to some of these questions. First up from Alice, she wants to know advice for aspiring writers.
Gosh, I mean, I'm basically an aspiring writer. I just, I think find the thing you love reading and write that, and don't try to do something that's not. It's like, for me, cozy mysteries are what I love the most, and that's what I wanted to try to write. I wish I had something smarter to say than that, but there are just infinite numbers of people more qualified to give advice on that.
What resonates for you about cozies? What do you love about them?
I think, it's that they're really about people and relationships and people coming together under tense situations and sort of resolving situations through empathy and love and community. And I think that's really cool. And that's, if I were to sum it up, that's really what it is for me. There's other things too. I like the puzzle aspect to it, which, when it's well done, it's just the coolest thing when someone's really managed to execute the red herrings, and where it's not sort of a out of nowhere reveal. But that for me, it's about the people and communities coming together in difficult things, and I think managing to have tension and suspense without, which I think people who don't like cozies would say they don't have much tension, and I understand, I guess, the point that they don't have this constant ratcheting of stakes the way that the thriller does, but to keep something engaging without sort of, constant bullets flying and that kind of thing, I think is pretty cool.
It's interesting because I've been seeing some interesting conversations happening in the book reviewing Bookstagram community, where the questions are coming up. Are we getting too focused on the gotcha aspect of thrillers? Has it become all about the twist, and who can write the twistiest of the twisty pretzels?
Yeah.
and is it becoming too focused on, the art of the twist at the expense of maybe some other, parts of the craft, which I think is a really interesting thing to start to explore. I like that you like the puzzle aspect of it, and the concept of red herrings, which is planting false clues for those who may not know. How did you execute the puzzle aspect of your book? How did you execute the red herrings? Are you a plotter? Are you a pantser? Did you go back and put them in? Did you think, I need more herrings, less herrings?
I'm a plotter, so it's funny. It's hard to answer this without giving too much away, but I actually started the book. The first idea I had was the twist about what the motive would be and how it would be executed. That's all I can say. But so I started with this very specific idea for what I hope is this sort of novel, clever, totally plausible, but never been done sort of different thing. But yeah, I plot. I mean, I used an outline that was a chapter by chapter outline, but only like 3 pages. There's some people who do these like 70-page outlines, and I can't imagine doing that just because it sounds like a lot of work. But
yes. So so it's interesting to know who's a plotter and who's a pantser. So when Jeffrey Deaver was on the show, he shared that he is a vigorous plotter. So he spends 6 to 8 months plotting, and his outlines run up to 180 pages, but then he's able to write very, very quickly because it's all right there for him. He also writes in a completely dark room, tactile, which I think is fascinating.
I read somewhere, I think it was James Patterson, who started out writing this outline, a very detailed outline with really, really short scenes, and then basically realized, why not just make that the book and cut all the other stuff? That sounds profitable to me, but I don't sound interesting.
Yeah, it's so fascinating to hear different people's processes. So are you working on your next book now, Zach, or what are you up to now? What's next for you?
Working on something. It's bad luck to talk about it, but I would love to do another book with these characters, but we'll have to see how this does. But I'm excited about it. Either way, if it's 1 book or 10, it was so much fun. It was the most fun thing I've ever done.
Yay. Well, the book is out tomorrow, y'all. So here it is. Here's the pre-order link. And then I just want to share a few more reviews. First up, this one from Susan Elia MacNeal, the New York Times bestselling author of the Mother Daughter Traitor Spy. And she said that your book is perfect for viewers of Turner Classic Films. A Killing in Costumes is an exuberant tale of movies, murder, revenge, and ultimately friendship. I loved the use of the word exuberant.
It's a great word.
That's so fun, because I think part of the challenge as a writer is knowing that the story that you're telling, it has to go through the medium of the page. So you have to make it as exuberant and exciting as you can in order to keep people wanting to turn those pages. What do you think from a craft perspective gets that exuberance across? How do you keep people turning the pages, Zach?
Gosh, I just feel like such a fraud even trying to answer this, because there's infinite numbers of people with more intelligent answers. I mean, I think I try to, the way I did it is I try to think of, like, I'm not saying I did this perfectly, because maybe people feel it's too slow or too fast, but I try to, like, think about what part I would be skimming if I were a reader. That's the thing I try, but I don't, I'm not saying I did this successfully. I just, that's how I tried to think of it. So I don't know, read it. Let me know if you think that worked.
I like the idea of you noticing which part you might be skimming and then what did you do with that information? Amp it up, cut it back?
Usually.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me, there's a friend of mine, an editor, Eric Nelson. He's at HarperCollins. He tweeted, I thought it was such a brilliant tweet. He said, show me a book that a review says should have been cut by 30%, and I'll show you a book that the editor already cut by 30%, which I thought was so true. Anyway,
ooh, that's interesting.
Isn't that funny? Yeah, that was his experience, I guess.
So he's saying that they cut some, but not enough.
Yeah, that anytime readers say it's too long, he's like, just know we already cut it. I don't know if that's true. That's what he said. I thought it was funny.
Interesting. I love that.
Yeah.
Terry Gardner, the Edgar Award nominated author of the Avery Ayres antique mystery series, called this a cleverly crafted mystery with a pair of film buff sleuths. This page turner, again, speaking to your ability to keep those pages turning, is a delightful letter to Hollywood stage and screen. Lovely words there from Tracy Gardner. Yay. And again, I just want to remind you all, the book is out tomorrow. I'm going to post 2 more amazing reviews. This one from Jane Cleland. She is the Agatha award-winning author of the Jane Austen Lost Letters series, and she says that your book is a delight to read, filled with wit and charm, irresistible characters, and fascinating details about the golden age of Hollywood. This twisty tale is a winner. Congratulations on that. And then I just wanted to briefly pop up Catherine Shellman, author of the Lily Adler series, also weighing in with some wonderful words, saying that readers won't be able to resist Cindy and Jay, whose pitch perfect friendship is the heart of this playful, twisty plot. And then I think,
by the way, her new book is out tomorrow too. The new book in the Lily Adler series. So she's a spectacular writer. She has a new Jazz Age one, but her Lily Adler books are like a Regency kind of Victorian thing. Beautiful writer. Anyway, everyone should get her book.
Yay. And I think it would be perfect to end on the Tom Sawyer, who is the Emmy-nominated head writer and showrunner of Murder, She Wrote, saying mystery readers, especially those with a taste for vintage Tinseltown movies, stars and glamour, and the music of the era, are going to love this beautifully, affectionately written novel. It must have been extra meaningful to have those words from Murder, She Wrote.
It's just the best show. It's, anytime anyone mentions new shows, I'm like, I watch 10 minutes. I'm like, Murder, She Wrote's better.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. All right, y'all. Pre-order tonight, and the good folks at Murder by the Book will ship this to you tomorrow. Zach, thank you so much for coming on to give us the inside scoop. And happy pub day tomorrow.
Thank you so much. You're the best. This was a lot of fun. A great honor. So,
yay! All right, everybody, stay tuned. I got Megan Golden live from Australia at the top of the hour. I'll see you then.